All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the future sisters that watch. Just coming back with another lesson. Going into, the hatred, that Esau, Edom has for the children of Israel, and it's showing, more so now, than it has in a long time anyway. But that hatred has always been there, and it's only going to escalate, with this ICE situation going on, and along with the collapse of Babylon the Great, which is happening right before our eyes. So we're just gonna get a couple scriptures and a little background, on how this devil, hates us, man. So let's go. We're just gonna roll through the spirit. Let's see, Lord willing to be edifying. So let's go to the book of Micah. Man, chapter 2. Wow. Need my glasses on. So lucky. I would get up and get them, but I ain't. All right, this is the book of Micah, chapter 2. And it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Matter of fact, let's get it in NLT. It says judgment against wealthy oppressors. And we know our oppressors to be first and foremost Esau, Edom, man. And these wicked elites. So it says, what sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night, thinking of evil plans? You rise at dawn and hurry to carry them out, simply because you have the power to do so. When you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it. We just saw that happen in Venezuela, man. You want a piece of land, you seize it. When you want someone's house, you take it by fraud and violence, And this happened, breaking the dams on black communities, flooding them out, raising the taxes, in the cities so people can't afford the taxes so they lose their house. Man, we got this devil figured out, man, through the spirit. So it says, you take it by fraud and violence. You cheat a man of his property, stealing his family inheritance. We seen this all throughout history, man. The way they did the tribe of Gad, broke all kind of treaties, didn't honor them. Verse 3, it says, but this is what the Lord, Yahweh, says. I will reward you. It's like I will reward your evil with evil. You won't be able to pull your neck out of the noose. You will no longer walk around proudly, for it will be a terrible time. And that is really, what we're waiting on, man. Because these devils are super duper proud, man. Especially now. They got some new thing they calling Trump Don Wick or something crazy like that, man. Like John Wick, the movie, So these devils are bloodthirsty, man. And they get a kick out of it. But they've always had a thing, against the children of Israel. We can go to the book of Numbers. We coming out of Egypt. And they wouldn't let us pass through, man. In a time of weakness, let's see. In our time of weakness, time we needed help, You know, they turned us away. So this is book of Numbers. We're just gonna start in the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 14. It says, "And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus said thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us." You know, we was going through it, man. Hardcore bondage. It says, "How our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dealt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptian vexed us and our fathers." It says, "And when we cried unto the Lord Yahweh, he heard our voice and sent an angel, and he hath brought us forth out of Egypt, and behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border." Uttermost border of, matter of fact, let's see. Kadesh. Kadesh, a city in the extreme south of Judah, same as Kadesh, Baria. Let's see, this place in the desert. Nonetheless, Edomite territory. So it says, "Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand or to the left until we have passed thy border." So they're saying, man, look, we don't want no trouble. We don't want no war. We don't want nothing you got. We just want to pass through, without any trouble. Just please let us come through. Verse 18, it says, "And Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword." So, with the ultimate threat. First thing to do is threaten. It says, "And the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink thy water, then I will pay for it." Being honorable. It says, I will only without doing anything else go through on my feet. And he said, Thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him. And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, journeyed through Kadesh and came unto Mount Or. So, that's the account, man. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, because this history of hatred. As a matter of fact, let's get this in the NLT, see what it say. Matter of fact, we'll start at the top. It says, "Again, a message came unto me from the Lord Yahweh. Son of man, turn and face Mount Seir and prophesy against his people." Mount Seir is another way of saying Esau, Edom. That's a location that's associated with the Edomites. Matter of fact, let's go get that. It says, "Patriarch of the Horites, the inhabitants of Edom, before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, land of Edom, south of the Dead Sea." So it's all associated. Esau, Edom, a mountain range in Edom, extending from the Dead Sea to the Analytic Gulf. Yeah. So, associated with Esau, Edom. This is a clear indication of who they are, who's being spoken of here. So it says, Give them this message from the sovereign Lord. How I am your enemy, O Mount Seir. I will raise my fist against you and destroy you completely. So what are these people talking about, man? Salvation for the Edomites. It says, I will demolish your cities and make you desolate. Then you will know that I am the Lord. How? Your eternal hatred for the people of Israel led you to butcher them when they were helpless, when I had already punished them for all their sins. Yeah. And it goes on, man. The Lord hates these people. Let's go to the book of Obadiah. Let me go back to the KJV on this. Thank you. Let me see. We'll drop down to verse 11. Matter of fact, let's see. We'll go to verse 10. And this whole chapter is speaking of these Edomites, man. But we'll go down to verse 10, speaking of the violence, like, not letting us pass through, coming up against us, through various captivities, Babylonian captivity, just being wicked, man. So it says, book of Obadiah, verse 10, it says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. It says, but thou shouldst not have looked on the other of thy brother. Hold on, am I reading? Salaki, it says, but thou shouldst not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that became a stranger, he became a stranger, neither shouldst thou have rejoiced over the children of Israel in the day of their destruction, neither shouldst thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress, man. So this man has constantly came up against us, man. Verse 13, it says, thou shouldst not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yeah, thou shouldst not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. So, for the violence against, the children of Israel, this devil is going to be punished, man. His kingdom is going to be thrown down. We see it falling right before our eyes. Every day is something new, which is going to ultimately escalate until missiles being shot over here, man, by these other nations. First and foremost, Russia, going to lead the way. So, with that being said, this was just a quick lesson through the spirit, hey, man, it's always good to bring something out. Wasn't really in the spirit, kind of feeling a little out of it, but a little down or whatever, in the spirit. But hey, man, we got to keep on pushing. So with that being said, Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to constantly give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.